Yes. What do you need, though?
Wow. Nothing.
Then you're good. You're good.
It's just a matter of getting beyond or getting out of my own way.
You're the second person saying the same thing today. That's all about it, about that. Life is about that, getting
Yeah.
out of your own way.
Let's take that into now this interview. Ipek, it's a pleasure to connect with you again. It's been almost a year. As we were just doing on this in our Zoom call, you were already beginning to help me gain clarity and insight into what I've been doing since our last time connecting. I'd love to hear, and I'd love for the audience and those listening to you or to this episode to get an idea of who is Ipek Williamson and how she got into insight coaching. And you're an author of a new, it's a children's book, Little Fauna, who is loved and never alone. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but just looks so cute. And you're also in the middle of a 4-week meditation masterclass on Insight Timer, awesome meditation app that I used to use, and just some awesome, great things. I'm very active on LinkedIn. So please bring us into the world, to your world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Solomon. It's a pleasure to be with you again. I missed you. It's been a while. So this is a wonderful excuse to get together and talk again, catch up. So since last year, since I last talked to you, lots of things happened in my life. And yes, I am an insight coach and meditation teacher. I also call myself a meditation advocate. Because I am so passionate about it. And I believe that meditation is, because it changes our brain chemistry, it is bringing goodness, positivity, everything that is connected with growth and beauty in life. So since we last spoken, I became a meditation teacher with the Insight Timer app, and it started in May of last year, and I started to create recorded meditations and put them on the app. I chose that app because it is free of charge, and unless you want to do more, like take courses and do other stuff, the recorded meditations and live events are free of charge and open to everybody. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to reach out to as many people as possible through a medium which is not going to cost them, so that they can come and try meditation. And it has been a beautiful experience because since then I put out almost 50 meditations. I think I have 49 meditations there.
Wow.
And they were played for 55,000 times so far.
Did it start because as a coach, one of your offers is personalized meditations? So is that how it kind of started?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I also am getting some requests from people who have specific preferences around meditation. Like some people want just music, or some people want a mantra meditation, some people want a shorter meditation, whereas the other one's longer. And it is a great gift to people to create meditation uniquely created for them. And I also like to mention their name in the meditation, so that whenever they listen to it, like they internalize it and feel it, it internally, that it is my meditation and was made for me.
That's special.
So yeah, that's how it came up. Then, as you said, I'm also very passionate about children, and I want them to grow up with knowingness of we are not alone, we are safe, protected, and life is beautiful.
Yeah.
So because if we can set up that set the mindset for children as a default, that life is good, the world is beautiful, and people are there to help. So I want that to be their default, rather than everything is scary, world is like a overwhelming place, and everybody I connect might be someone bad.
Yeah.
So I want to give them
that really connects. Sorry to jump in. I have one question I'll get to, but it really connects with we just celebrated the holiday of Purim. I think I mentioned to you last time before we rescheduled this.
Yes.
And if somebody were to come in and see, like, we read the story of Purim, it's called the Megillah of Esther. Megillah also means concealment. And if some outsider were to come in and listen, like in a synagogue, when we read it, it's a huge joyous celebration. Whenever we come across the evil character's name, we scream, boo, boo, and all this. We give him so much attention. And really that is because, like you're getting into with that mindset, that if we can look at the things that are evil in our life or concealed, we were able to not be afraid of it. Yes. We can extract the goodness that really what it's there to teach us, what it's there that we can learn from it. So it's so beautiful, and I'm sure you convey it in the book. But as well, I wanted to ask, with what are the different goals or intentions that people ask you about creating personalized meditations? Because as an inside coach, I'm sure you help people kind of like you were just helping me a little bit before, like get out of our own way so we can rise above the waves of the water of worries and etc.
Yes. Well, in terms of personalized meditations, especially people who are having difficulty with self-confidence or limiting beliefs, or anything that is putting them in touch with the scarcity rather than abundance, or being positive so that they can be grateful of everything they already have. So people come with specific subjects in general, the things that they are having difficulty in their lives. And or if they have been through a trauma, childhood trauma or something, for example, they come and ask for forgiveness, specifically forgiveness meditation. So it is so much related to their personal experiences and what is missing and what they want to make up for in their lives.
What about also with like breaking habits or changing
Of course, that kind of stuff, weight loss, or like
transformation.
Yes, absolutely. Like quitting bad habits, creating positive habits. All those things are on the list of requests for sure.
Awesome.
Yes.
So how did you get into the coaching?
Well,
and into meditation.
Well, actually, it all started with meditation. I was an executive assistant, and I worked with top executives more than 20 years. Then I during like last few years of my work as an executive assistant, I started to meditate. And meditation, because I was stressed, very stressed, and I was anxious, so I thought meditation might help me. And sure enough, it did more than helping me. It started to transform me. So my transformation through meditation took me to a place where I wanted to do more with my life. I wanted to give back more. I wanted to touch more people's lives. And with the position I had, yes, I was making a difference in a few select people's lives, but it was so small number. I wanted to do good for thousands. Like this year, last year, 2020.
2021 or
2021, sorry. My New Year resolution was to touch at least 10,000 people with my meditations. And at the time, there was no Insight Timer, there was nothing. I didn't even know how I was going to do it, but that was what came to me. And then it was December, January, February, March, April, nothing. In May, I started with Insight Timer. And by the end of the year, not 10,000, but 40,000 plays of my meditations were like, were there on the app. So, when you have the intention and belief, anything is possible. And that's why I'm saying meditation started first, and meditation transformed me. And then came coaching.
Same.
Yes. And it's so beautiful. It is like it's a part of like when you meditate, get to a certain wisdom level, it is like the fruit of it, product of it, like being wisdom and sharing that wisdom in any way you can. So I love meditation, I love coaching, and I feel like this is my life purpose. This is why I'm here.
When you were first getting into meditation, how were you practicing it, and how do you practice it now?
I always liked guided meditations. It is easier for me to get into it and in a way stop my mind from wandering. But I like all kinds. At first, I started with guided meditation because it is the easiest for the new beginners, and I always suggest that. But then when I didn't need any more guided meditations, I only used some music, listen to music, and do mantra meditations, or just be silent and quiet and just focus on my breathing or my heartbeat. All kinds of meditations. Like I love yoga nidra, for example. It is a beautiful meditation type. So I try all of them. I love them all. Vipassana.
Nice. That was one of the first Vipassanas when I went to a silent retreat. It's just so relaxing just to be present with the breath and the sensations.
Yes.
And like you were touching on, sometimes when we can just be present and okay with whatever's like right now, whatever solution we need will just kind of come on its own.
Absolutely. I believe that we are creators of our reality. So what we focus on grows, what we intend comes to us. So we need to be very careful with our intentions and our thoughts and feelings that we are giving out to the universe, so that the same kind of positive ones come back to us.
Yeah. How do you help your clients as well as the just listeners be able to be more mindful of that, as well as to gain insight in their own lives? You know, often we can't see our own stuff, as a saying I like to or I've heard that I really enjoy. But also during those times when, you know, you can be pretty skilled at it, let's say, if we want to call this skill, like being intentional, and there's always room for improvement. Like you and I were talking at the beginning of this, is something I've been practicing for a while, but you know, we can whatever the case, however it may happen, we can get in our own way and another way. And also adopting that play, that even when, you know, sometimes you are very intentional and you can create something that's very magical. But even like right now, kind of in a little bit of handling a lot of things like a shaked up snow globe, and how to really settle it all down and determine what's most important now, or like you asked me the question, you know, very simple question at the beginning, you know, what brings you the most joy, and how to really just gain clarity on that.
Yeah. Yes, I just ask questions. I am very mindful and very I practice deep listening with my clients. So what I try to do is coming in to my sessions like really with an empty mind, so that I can focus 100% on what my client is talking about and needs, and so that I can ask the right questions to go deeper, to excavate what is in there that needs to be brought out. And my style of coaching, as I call it, insight coaching, is that I try not to give advice. I only share my experiences or any stories that I could share related with the subject or situation. But mainly, I prefer to ask in questions, like deep questions, so that my clients bring out those insights that they already have in them, because the answers are within you. I am just a vessel to help you go there and bring them up. I am not the one who would tell my client to what is right and what is wrong, or what is the right step to take. I help them to find it themselves, because, you know, it's all exactly like this, like a parent and a child. When you tell your child what to do, when you tell them do this, do that, they react. They don't want to do it unless it's their own idea.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing, same approach. I want my client to come up with their own solutions so that they can internalize it 100%.
Yeah. How do you practice that deep listening for somebody that may be listening to this or watching?
Well, I just listen with all my senses, like my eyes, my ears, my heart, and my soul. I feel every word echoing in my mind. Like whenever someone speaks to me, I have it in my head and I visualize it and coming out. It's a interesting listening technique that I created myself, and I use it so that I can pick up all the critical words that are said, but also between the lines, what is not said.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, how that your use of this listening technique. I like just the deep listening and how you begin to practice it, and not just in a sense of with a client or like with myself, and where you're, you kind of have to just let go of any analyzing. Sometimes when we're listening to somebody, we may, we have some judgments or some criticisms or some doubts about maybe what they're saying, and we take it with a grain of salt. And in a sense, in a place of with a client per se, and you're there to help with them, you can prepare for that environment. If you're in a closed office or in a Zoom, ideally both people are in a silent place, and you're there to help them. What about just practicing deep listening with oneself, as well as, going throughout a day, being able to listen to the noise, so to speak, that's coming externally, and being aware of the different messages our own soul is giving us through our body?
Well, what I do to be 100% present is, before every coaching session, I always meditate, because I want to center myself. I have to be centered, and I have to leave my thoughts and feelings and emotions outside the door so that I can be there 100% for my client. And when I do that, I just listen. I just hear what they are saying. I hear everything, like the voice tone, how it changes, how the mimics change, especially with the clients that I have been working for a while. From their facial mimics and everything, I can tell. I don't even need to ask the question. I know what they feel, what they want, what makes them uncomfortable at times. Or whenever we talk about an idea, from their first reaction, I can tell that idea, no, it's not for her. She doesn't feel right about this. Because I can tell, I can see it, I can hear it, I can see it. And it's and I, as I said, I hear their voice, like I let the voice get into my mind, and I hear the voice in my head. I cannot explain it well, but I don't know how to explain it. But I don't just hear it, I just listen it in my head, in my brain. I don't know how I can explain it.
Do you also get into like reading the body language? Is that something you had to practice, or with over time just noticing, like, did you learn some about body language, or just a matter of being with some clients for some time, you began to pick up little quirks somebody did that was like, oh, that's information, let me dig into that a little bit more? The reason I asked this also is for someone to, I'm sure you practice it on yourself as well. Like I used to pay attention to maybe I would talk about some subject, or I would think about it and my leg would kick, and it would be like a sign, like, okay, something's there. Why is my leg kicking? Or why am when your feet are pointed forward, and let's say you're talking to somebody about a decision to make. If your feet are a little bit off to the side, it means you're not fully like intentional, like something's still not straight.
Yeah.
I imagine, by the way, that could be a little challenging if you're meeting with somebody over Zoom. But how did you practice that, and for other clients as well as with yourself?
Yes, it is.
And how to get to a place where you're not distracting yourself. Like sometimes I've experienced with myself, sometimes it's either so, let's just say, intense that I like to go to a float tank or somewhere where I can't distract myself for a allotted amount of time, and I just go straight into what's bothering me, and it provides a lot of clarity.
I believe that our body has a way to express everything to us, to our attention.
Yeah.
It is all about being mindful and noticing it. So yes, if my body is telling me something, like I feel something in my body, I always pay attention, because everything has a reason. Everything happening in our body, any pain, any tension, any gesture, even while we are connecting or conversing with someone. And yes, we need to pay attention to ourselves, and we also need to pay attention to the other person, because body language is actually something that never lies. Your words could say something else while your body is saying a totally different story. Yeah. So
that was the power, the revolution of the when they first put on video the presidential debate. What was it? Not I forgot the presidents at the moment, but those who were listening thought that one guy won, but those who watched saw no, the other guy won.
Yeah,
the power of I remember I read what's the book called? Shoot, on body language. The name doesn't come to me at the moment, but he also mentions in there it's an ex-FBI agent, Joe Navarro. You familiar with
yes, yeah.
What do you remember the title?
No, I don't.
No? I interviewed somebody else about it, but it'll come to us. But he also writes about like not being so conclusive on one sign. So how do you pick up, like, are you very observant in that, okay, maybe the person twitches one way, and it gives off a sign that, okay, maybe they're insecure about this thing, but you still look for other pieces of evidence to be able to be conclusive. So what are some things that stick out that give you signs, or is it very unique to each individual?
Well,
like what about with me? You've spoken with me a few times. Yes. I think you can pick up the different quirks.
Yes, no, about you, you are quite like inside and out. You don't have much difference what you are thinking or saying. I can tell that you are a genuine person, and you don't have any difficulty expressing yourself or articulating your thoughts or emotions. And also I like the way you really think before answering questions. You check in and then share what you're gonna share, or what you feel or think, and that's a good thing to have.
Well, thank you.
But in general, of course, you put together everything, just body language, face, eyes, words, tone of voice. There are so many things, and when you put them all together, even if someone is twitching, it doesn't mean that that twitch will change the whole trajectory of communication.
It's very fascinating, all the little pieces of
Yes.
information. I'd love for you to touch on what one thing that seems to stick out is often when we feel different discomfort. One lesson that I've really resonated and sat with recently is when you feel a certain magnitude of discomfort, we seem to have, or at least I'll speak for myself, okay, what do I do with this? How do I get this out? But really all that's required is the listening. Like the listening itself is an action. Like just to be able to sit with the discomfort, or in a sense of floating with it, like with a float tank, there is no doing that necessarily needs to be done.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
could you comment a little further on that? That what it's I find it really interesting that where did this idea that, oh, I have to do something to get out of this situation come, but really that's not necessarily the case. The doing kind of just happens when you just be.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the right thing to do anyway, because you cannot deny your emotions or your thoughts or your feelings. None of that. You need to sit with it. You need to accept and allow it. Only then you can get out of that. When you're done with it, when you're done processing it, you can get out of it. Let's say like grief. You lost someone. If you don't let yourself go through every stage of grief and go back to your daily life as if nothing happened, it will come back and bite you.
It's interesting you brought that up. In the great Jewish sages even brought up and instituted, whenever somebody, it's called sitting Shiva, when somebody dies, you have to mourn for 7 days. You can't go back to work. There might even, I'm sure there's even more laws behind it, but to be able to honor those emotions.
Yes, I mean, and you need to honor. Honor is a very good word for it. Yes, you need to honor that. You need to honor yourself and give the time to yourself to go through it. You cannot. There are things that you cannot go around. You only can go through. Because if you go around, you're gonna turn around and come back to the starting point.
Interesting. What about with depending on some individuals, what about the things that there's such a high emotional quotient to it? How do you help somebody listen and also be joyous within it? Because there are some things, it's not that matter of, you can't just listen. Even if you listen really deeply, it's not just going to go away within, even a year. But say some things really just it's a matter of being with for however slow the growth may be. Like some things just take a little bit of time on a time scale.
Yes.
To process through.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, some things are a little bit easier to deal with and get through and process and go with it. But some things are very life-changing, which requires longer times to work. You need to work on it. Yeah. And when that's the situation, that's the case, again, you need to give yourself the permission to feel it, to live it, and to go through it as long as it takes. You cannot force a tree to grow, right?
I was just thinking about that. A tree,
it will take a certain.
It's like uprooting a tree as well as as you're saying, exactly. Growing it.
Exactly, it will take a certain amount of time, and it's okay, as long as you don't judge yourself for taking the time, because it's your right. Then do and be whatever needs to be, and then move on when you can, when you're ready.
You brought up it's still in the topic of listening and listening to the body, because the body really holds the soul's tells. Mm-hmm. How do you differentiate and really become attuned to honoring the body and not allowing it to kind of run the program per se? Mm-hmm. Like, let's say like even with sleep, like waking up, like you want to be able to honor the body, but honoring the body doesn't necessarily mean just doing what it whatever its instincts are. Mm-hmm. Do you understand the question? Kind of get on it?
Well, I'll answer the way I understand it. Our body is our temple, and what we do with it is about our choices, like how we honor it, how we treat it, through the exercise that we do or we don't do, through the foods that we consume or we choose not to consume, or how we look at ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we love, how we look. So it is a very personal relationship that we have with our bodies, and when we show the respect and love that our body deserves, then it becomes a good relationship between our being and our physical body.
Your answer helped me reframe the question, and with the examples you brought up, like exercise or nutrition. Mm-hmm. Because we can also be rigid in exercise or nutrition, like, oh, I've got to work out today, or I've got to get up at this time, and I've got to eat this type of diet. Mm-hmm. But to really practice getting into a intuitive place, like to really get to a place where you're honoring the body, that you can tune in and say, let's say even you're on a workout program, mm-hmm. but at least how I grew up is, you would have a feeling I don't want to work out today, mm-hmm. but you would push through that because it's just a feeling, you got to work out today. Mm-hmm. But now it's, how do you really tune in and no, I'm not, this isn't an excuse. I'm not just deciding not to work out because I don't feel like it, but I'm really tuning in and honoring the body, and mm-hmm. that, I shouldn't work, not that I shouldn't, but I'm going to listen to myself and not work out today, or I'm going to eat this delicious piece of cake, etc.
Yeah. Well, I always believe that life is something that we should have things to savor. Savoring is one of the best parts of life. And if our body is feeling tired one day and it wants to relax and lie down and maybe meditate instead of exercising, then it's perfectly fine. I mean, listening to our body means that maybe doing the things that we need to do in general, because sometimes you feel like you don't want to exercise, and then afterwards you go ahead and exercise, and you feel, oh, I'm so glad I did, because I was feeling like I didn't want to, but then I did, and I feel much better now. So yes, if that's the case, you can tell if you are being like lazy, or if you really don't feel like, I'm feeling really tired today. I don't feel like exercising at all. Then don't push yourself. In terms of food, like a piece of beautiful cake, yummy. You can indulge yourself and have some, as long as you know that you have room for it.
Interesting.
But savoring anything, like a conversation, a piece of cake, some vigorous exercise, anything that is giving you joy and excitement and positive feelings, then go for it.
Follow your joy.
Absolutely, with everything.
Awesome.
When I turned 50 a few years ago, couple years ago, I decided on my birthday that from this day on, I will not do anything that doesn't give me joy in life. And coaching and teaching meditation are my resources of joy in life. So that's how I stay healthy and happy and young.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Ipek, it's been a pleasure to be with you again, to speak, to learn from you, and to hear about all the awesome creations that you're doing and sharing. And please continue spreading that light and joy.
Thank you.
And I think this has been really an awesome time, really learning how to listen, and really deep listening, whether it's for oneself, for others, and also just listening to what's going on in the world. That's what's really important nowadays.
Yeah, so you try to practice that. When you speak with someone, try to hear their voice echoing in your head.
Listen to the voice echoing in your head.
Yes.
That's wow. Nice.
Thank you so much.
And to be able to learn how to listen to oneself within that, because we can also have a lot of those voices echo.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
How can people check out your meditations or go to your website, as well as on LinkedIn? How can people find you?
Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, and actually the best way is just Google me, Ipek Williamson. I have my website, ipekWilliamsoncoaching.com. On Insight Timer, when they search my name, Ipek Williamson, my profile would come up. And when you go to Google and put my name up, you get everything.
Nobody took the SEO of over your name. It's all yours. Awesome. Well, Ipek, it's a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to maintaining the touch and continuing to help each other grow.
Of course, Solomon. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure.